Hello, I am Jenna Mobley, the Director of Programs with Community Farmers Markets, and today I'm going to walk through our brand new Farmers Market Kids Club Toolkit that we created in collaboration with Georgia Organics. Let's take a look. Through this toolkit, here's what you'll find. First, we'll go through a program introduction that tells you a little bit about the pilot program that we ran with our East Atlanta Village Farmers Market and with a school nearby, the Burgess Peterson Academy. Then we'll talk through each of the different program components. There were 10 different components that we tried out through the course of this 10-week program, and we're going to let you know how they worked for us, how they might work for you, how expensive it was of our time, our energy, and our dollars, and give you some suggestions of what you might want to try. Towards the end, we'll talk about different ways that you could track your program, and then we'll talk about the impact that our program had based on the tracking that we did. Then there are a few additional resources and templates at the very end as well. So to start off, this program was an initiative that was between Georgia Organics and Community Farmers Markets. And the big goal was to increase family engagement at the local farmers markets. So we tried out all of these different program components at the East Atlanta Village Farmers Market, and we partnered with a local school, the Burgess Peterson Academy. This program ran for 10 weeks in the fall of 2021. Here you can see a little bit more about our East Atlanta Village Farmers Market. This is a farmers market that has been around since 2006, and it's been managed by us at Community Farmers Markets since 2011. It's really special because it pops up once a week on a vacant lot in East Atlanta Village. And you can see in this picture here, the front half has room for all of the tents for the farmers market that pops up with about 25 different farmers and vendors each week. And the back part of the lot has a permanent play area, a play kitchen, some picnic tables, some fruit trees, and edible garden back in the back. So this is a space that exists for the neighborhood throughout the week, and every Thursday it has the farmers market. And at our farmers market here, folks can shop with all of the different farmers and vendors for their fruits and veggies and breads and jellies and jams and honey and prepared food. And also, any of our SNAP recipients can use those SNAP dollars to actually even double the value of the SNAP dollars on any of their fruits and vegetables. On the next page, you can see a little bit about the Burgess Peterson Academy. This is a school that's part of Atlanta Public Schools that has an incredible principal, David White. He has been there since 2015, and he even was named the Principal of the Year in 2022. We are so lucky to have him. And in the photo here, you can see Michelle Rice. Michelle Rice has been a volunteer at the school and with the school garden and the school orchard for as long as I can remember, at least 10 years. So you can see her working her magic with the kids there. It was really nice to partner with a school that already has a supportive staff, a supportive administration, and a robust school gardening and school lunch program. Now let's take a look at how we organize all of these different components of the Kids Club program. We basically separated them into 3 different buckets. One being all of the promotional things that we did, trying to communicate just what the farmers market was, when and where it happened to all of the students and the parents. The other group of things that we did were all around education. It's just what fruits and vegetables are available at what time of year, who are the farmers, and we communicated that through all sorts of different methods, including activity sheets and having a kids booth for kids when they arrived at the market. And then finally, we had some motivational components. We wanted the kids to keep coming back. We wanted to build relationships with them. So we built in a couple of fun things to encourage them to build new routines and habits in visiting the market. First, we'll look at these promotional components. The first one that we mentioned here is signage and the school marquee. This was like the first, the quickest, the easiest thing that we did to get the word out about our farmers market. And then we communicated with the front office staff to give them some language that they could read on the morning and afternoon announcements to the full student body and all of the teachers to get them very excited about the farmers market. At the bottom here, you can see an example of a blurb that we sent the front office staff and a template that you could fill in for your program. And finally, we entered a blurb into the weekly email newsletter that went out to all the parents. So each week, we let the parents know what was going on at the farmers market, all the logistical details that they needed to know, and a little bit about the fun program that we were doing. Again, here at the bottom, you can see an example from our program and a couple of ideas to dig a little bit deeper. These are ideas like renting a school bus or doing a walking school bus from the school to the farmers market, scheduling those meetups to make that easier for folks to come and know people and see people that are from their class or from their school when they get to the farmers market. We also included a newsletter template for you where you could fill in the blanks for your local school's parent newsletter. Next, we went into the educational components. Again, this was our way of communicating. These are the fruits and vegetables that are seasonal right now. These are your farmers. These are your vendors. This is who you'll see every week. So here's a little bit more on what our weekly featured vegetable information looked like. Oftentimes, we would communicate fun facts about that fruit or vegetable. We would always be sure to include recipes so that if they went and got that fruit and vegetable, they would know what to do with it once they got home. And when possible, we also included other activities and crafts, like you can see the okra ornaments here. And then we really enjoyed our featured farmer program. Every single week, we picked a different featured farmer. And we wrote up a little blurb that you can see here. We would interview them. You could ask them any question you'd like. We asked, why do you love farming? And what is your favorite thing to grow? Those were two quick and easy questions that had really interesting answers. We included a photo of our farmer, made sure to put their name, the name of their farm that they would see when they come to the farmer's market, and their location, which of course was somewhere very close to us, so that could build that sort of familiarity with the farmers and where they're from. And all of this information could be communicated through a weekly activity sheet. This is really where we started needing funds. Everything up until now didn't really need any money to do, just the time and energy to pull the information together and to communicate the information through the morning or afternoon announcements, through social media. But here is where we got to the point where we're like, it would be really cool if we had some money, we could print these up, make them look good, and send these home with the kids. And sure enough, that's what we were able to do. So this is an example of one of the activity sheets that we made. And every single Monday, we would go to the school and drop off enough of these activity sheets to go home with every single student that Monday in hopes that they would bring them to the farmer's market on Thursday. And we saw a lot of them come back. And then when they did come to the farmer's market on Thursday, we were sure to have a kids booth, an area specifically for kids at the farmer's market. So for us, that looked like having this 10 by 10 tent, having a banner that specified that this is for you kids. We had a table and a tablecloth, and we always had a staff member there. This is Danielle that you see in the picture. Oftentimes, she would be doing a raw taste test of whatever the featured vegetable was, maybe a craft or a game with that featured vegetable. We would sometimes pull different children's books that the kids could read about either that featured vegetable or just food and farming in general, but always some way for the kids to engage once they got to the kids booth. This was another cute project we did. We had a Polaroid camera that we started bringing to market, and we got pictures of a lot of the kids that were coming week after week after week. We have these pictures of them holding the different vegetables that they were buying and that they were going to try. And just putting up this poster every week ended up being really motivational for the kids because they saw their face on there. They felt some ownership over the market. They also saw their friends' faces and some kids from other classes. This was sort of a fun project to get kids motivated to come back and to feel like they belong there. Let's talk through a few more of the motivational components. A lot of these were free and easy and just ways to get the kids excited to come back again and again and build that routine and habit of coming to the farmer's market. So this one is our passport that we created. And you can see here at the top, we just had their name on there. So every week they came up, the very first thing we could do is greet them by name. And then you can see that we listed all of the different dates of the farmer's market through that 10-week season, all of the themes that we came up with for each week. You can see a lot of these were based on the featured vegetables, sometimes what was going on in the seasons, and then a spot for a stamp. So when they'd come up, we would just give them a stamp or a sticker on that spot and congratulate them for all the stamps or stickers that they had gotten. Many of our kids even came every single week or almost every week. And I think that building up this passport and adding stamps to the collection really had something to do with that. We also did a class contest. This was really fun, and again, totally cheap and easy. We just created a list of all of the teachers' names at Burgess-Peterson and organized them by grade level to make them a little bit easier for us to find. And every time the student came to the kids booth, we just asked what class they were in, and we put a little tally next to that teacher's name. So we added up for each teacher how many kids were coming to the farmers market each week. Now, if the teacher came, they got 2 tallies because that was double as great if the teacher came to the farmers market. And we added up those numbers every week, and we included that when we sent that blurb for the morning and afternoon announcements. So the classes always knew what their standings were and who was in the lead and what class had the most visits, adding up week after week after week. And then finally, after 10 weeks, the class that received the most visits to the farmers market got to get a free cookie, or you could do a free popsicle or some sort of free treat from a local vendor at the farmers market, so that money is continuing to circulate in the local economy. And also, the teacher of that class, to encourage their support of the program, received a $25 gift certificate to the farmers market. Again, going right back into our local economy and right to our vendors. That was very exciting for the kids. Oftentimes the kids would run up and the first thing they wanted to know was, how many tallies does my class have? Are we in the lead yet? Did we knock them out in second place? They were very excited about that class contest. We were also fortunate enough to have access to funding to do some fun giveaways throughout this program over 10 weeks. For one, every single student that came to the farmers market received a $5 produce-only token to spend with the farmers at our farmers market. That was really exciting and really aligned well with the featured vegetable that they saw on the activity sheet, that they did the taste test of at the kids booth, that maybe they did the craft activity at the kids booth about, to then have a $5 token to walk over to a farmer and get that same vegetable to take home and make that recipe or do another taste test with. That felt like a very powerful incentive and also alignment with the type of behaviors we're hoping to see with our kids. We also had the really unique opportunity to give each child that came to the kids booth each week a different children's book about food or farming or the seasons. There were 2 different options each week and different options all of the 10 weeks. So there were 20 different books in total, and the kids could build their own little library collection of different books all about food and farming. We do have some information here, some ideas here about how you could fund some of those bigger projects like that. Either the $5 tokens to spend with farmers or something like books. You could also give away kids-safe kitchen tools or anything else like that. This was a fun part of our program, but again, this program would have been just as successful without it. The kids were really motivated by all of the other components that were free besides our time and our energy. Here you can see some different ideas of the ways that we tracked our program and the success of our program. On this first chart, you can see that we tracked the number of kids that came to our kids booth on each of these weeks. It was really helpful to us because we could tell the impact that like the weather had or fall break had on attendance, or maybe special events were a super high day. Just gave us a lot of information to tell what impacted the family's attendance. And then based on that weekly passport and stamp system, we were able to track how many students came to what number of weeks throughout the 10-week program. You can see here that 12% of kids came every single week, like never missed a single week in 10 weeks, which was pretty amazing. All the way down to about the same amount, 13% just came once. And everything in between. Looks like our most common was about 5 out of 10 visits, like in every other week, something like that, about half of the visits. But either way, I think this chart is really neat at showing how often these kids came back again and again and again throughout this program. And like we mentioned with the class contest, this is sort of what it looked like when we added up all of the visits for each different class. These were the numbers the kids were really excited about each week. At the end of the toolkit, you can see some numbers that show the huge impact this program had on our little farmers market. Through this program, we reached 973 kids, which means 973 $5 tokens went directly to our farmers, totaling $4,865 in income directly to our farmers from our kids. We also saw a big rise in attendance. Our average market attendance for the spring and summer of that same year was around 908, and it rose to above 1,000 per market during that fall. If we look at the graph here, we can see how this program potentially impacted not only our farmer sales through those tokens, but the overall sales of the market. Because of course, once folks are there, they are purchasing with a lot of different vendors. So this chart shows the difference between the fall of 2019, the fall of 2020, and then this fall of 2021 is where this program happened. You can see huge leaps in both of them. And what we also love to see is that this past fall in 2022, we even grew from there. So maybe we built some of those habits and routines that kids and families continued to come back for and continue to spend that money. We also found that our dollar amount of SNAP redeemed at market grew during the time of the program too. And we're always looking to create an access point for our SNAP users. At the end of the toolkit, you'll see a couple of different links and a couple of different templates you can use to create your own passport, your own class contest tracking sheet. And we cannot thank you enough for tuning in and learning a little bit more about our Kids Club Toolkit.